In the United States, you aren't buying a house. You're buying a 30-year subscription to a pile of expensive kindling. If you live in a modern American suburb, look at your walls. There is a very high probability that the only thing separating you from a Category 3 hurricane or a stray F-150 is a half-inch of gypsum board and some pine studs held together by hope. While you've been told this is the gold standard of efficient housing, the data suggests you are actually living in a structural regression that Europe solved during the Middle Ages. You aren't participating in a modern architectural miracle. You're the victim of a century-long cost-cutting exercise designed to make sure your home depreciates exactly fast enough to keep you in the mortgage cycle forever. The average lifespan of a modern American stick-frame home is now being tracked at roughly 50 to 70 years before significant structural failure or economic obsolescence kicks in. In contrast, the masonry and brick standards common across the Atlantic aren't measured in decades. They're measured in centuries. This isn't an accident of geography. It's a divergence in how a society views its people. In much of Europe, a house is a permanent asset intended to provide security for 5 generations. In the US, a house is a consumer product. It's a Toyota Camry with a chimney, and this is where the betrayal starts to hit your bank account. If you live in a state like Florida, your insurance premiums have likely jumped by over 100% in the last few years. You're told it's climate change, but the data reveals a deeper structural betrayal. Insurance companies are quietly realizing that American construction is fundamentally fragile. When a storm hits, a brick house loses some shingles, a wooden house loses its soul. Because your home is essentially a lightweight basket, the moment a window blows out, the internal pressure can literally lift the structure off its foundation. You are paying a fragility tax every single month just because your builder wanted to save 20% on material costs in 1998. Ask yourself why your electric bill looks like a car payment during a July heat wave. Wood has nearly zero thermal mass. It cannot store energy. You are living in a thermal sieve. Your HVAC system has to run 24/7 fighting against the laws of physics because your walls offer almost no natural regulation. If the power goes out in a heat wave, a stone house in Spain stays cool for days. Your house in Phoenix will become a convection oven in 6 hours. You were sold affordability, but what you got was a high-maintenance life support system. The industry hides behind the seismic flex argument, the idea that wood is better for earthquakes. It's a convenient myth. Japan builds earthquake-proof structures with steel and reinforced concrete. The real reason is the systematic desilling of the American workforce. Masonry is an art. Nailing 2x4s together can be done by anyone with a week of training. We have simplified building so much that we no longer need specialists, and therefore we can no longer expect quality. You are trapped in this wood cycle because the alternative in the US has been systematically priced out of existence. Look at the 5/1 apartment blocks popping up in your city. 1 floor of concrete, 5 floors of wood. That is the maximum amount of wood you can stack before fire codes make the insurance impossible. These buildings are disposable urbanism. They are designed to last exactly as long as the developer's tax break cycle and not a day longer. Will these be historic landmarks in 50 years? No. They'll be landfill. This leads to an uncomfortable question. Why do you accept that your biggest life investment is made of the same material as a shipping pallet? In Germany, a house might cost 40% more to build, but it loses almost no value over decades. In America, you buy an object that begins to rot on day 1. The entire US economy relies on you upgrading after 10 years because your current house is starting to fail. It is state-sponsored planned obsolescence. Consider the luxury lie. You're paying $500,000 for luxury vinyl plank flooring and designer cabinets made of pressed sawdust, all wrapped in a frame that would be considered a temporary shed in Switzerland. We have been conditioned to value the new car smell of a house over the structural integrity of the foundation. While a homeowner in Italy is repairing a 200-year-old roof, you're dealing with toxic mold because a single flashing strip was installed incorrectly by a subcontractor who was rushing to meet a quarterly quota. We are building disposable cities at a time when we can least afford them. Every time a storm or a wildfire rips through a wooden subdivision, we celebrate the resilience of the community as they rebuild the exact same matchstick houses in the exact same danger zones. It isn't resilience, it's insanity. It's a circular economy where the only winners are the lumberyards and the mortgage lenders. We are the only developed nation that treats a housing crisis by building houses that won't survive their own mortgages. Have you noticed how quiet a European house is? That's not just thick walls, that's density. In your American home, you can hear your neighbor's lawnmower through 2 closed windows in a wall. You can hear your kids breathing in the next room. You are living in an acoustic nightmare because sound waves treat wood and drywall like they aren't even there. We've sacrificed privacy, silence, and peace for the sake of open floor plans that are only possible because we aren't using heavy, load-bearing stone. The American real estate market is a game of hot potato. You buy the house, hold it for 7 years while the paint is still fresh, and try to sell it to the next person before the HVAC dies, the roof leaks, or the OSB sheathing starts to delaminate. You aren't building equity, you're timing a collapse. If you're living in a master-planned community built after 2010, you aren't living in a neighborhood. You're living in a managed decline. Why don't we change? Because the American financial system is addicted to the speed of wood. A concrete house takes 6 months to a year to cure and finish properly. A wooden house can be framed in a week. Our banks don't want to wait a year for their interest. They want the loan closed, the house sold, and the commission paid before the next Fed meeting. Your safety and your long-term wealth are being traded for 3 months of banking efficiency. If you think your new build is an investment for your grandkids, go into your crawl space. Look at the engineered I-joists made of wood chips and glue. They're highly efficient, incredibly cheap, and structurally worthless the moment they get wet. We traded the security of a bunker for the convenience of a basket. We were told European houses are old and cramped, while ours are new and spacious. But space is cheap when the walls are made of cardboard. Is it really freedom when your entire net worth is tied up in a structure that can be leveled by a single termite colony or one damp spring? The data is clear. The American dream is built of matchsticks. We build for the next quarter, not the next century. And while you're paying off the interest on your timber box, the developer is already at the bank financing the next disposable neighborhood. If you're still convinced your house is a fortress, look at your last insurance renewal or your cooling bill. The data already told you the truth. You just didn't want to hear it. If you prefer data over brochures, this channel is built for you. If you want to know why your state is structurally programmed to go bankrupt in the next 20 years, that's our next video. Stay tuned.